Now, in addition to the 11 deaths at Tree of Life, we've learned that 6 other people were hurt. That includes the 4 Pittsburgh police officers. 2 of them were among the first responders on the scene this morning. The other 2 were members of a SWAT team. All were last listed in stable condition.
And 2 other victims were last listed in critical and serious condition. A total of 5 patients taken to UPMC Presbyterian Hospital. That is where John Shumway is, and he joins us live now with more. John?
Yeah, I have no doubt in that vigil over there in Squirrel Hill, they'll be lifting prayers for the people who are here tonight. There's been a pretty steady stream of people coming by, police officers, to go check on their friends who are here, as well as people who know those who have been wounded and are being treated here at Presbyterian Hospital. Now, let's get to the victims. There were a total of 5 victims brought to Presbyterian Hospital and 1 taken to Mercy. Now, one police officer, unfortunately, was able to be treated and released from the ER and walked out of here. The rest had to get more serious medical attention. And let's run that down now from the briefing at 4 o'clock from Dr. Don Yealy from the UPMC Medical Center.
The patients were all transported to one of 3 facilities. 4 patients came to UPMC Presbyterian, 1 to UPMC Mercy, and the final patient went to Allegheny General Hospital. I can give you a listing of what those particular patients were. I obviously cannot give you personal information. First patient was a 61-year-old female who had extremity soft tissue injuries that required cleaning in the operative room. She is doing well now and recovering. Next was a 70-year-old male who had gunshot wounds in his torso involving major organs inside of his abdomen. He underwent what we call a damage control laparotomy. That's an operation to get the initial injury under control, where we expect to have to do a second or third operation later. He's now having that second operation now. He's obviously in critical condition. A 55-year-old officer was also seen who had multiple extremity wounds, went to the OR again for repair and cleaning of those wounds. And then finally, another officer had essentially soft tissue injuries and grazing and was having a complete evaluation, looks to be doing fine now. Those are the 4 patients at UPMC Presbyterian. Another officer went to UPMC Mercy, had an extremity injury that required intervention and evaluation in the operating room. Again, that officer is doing fine.
Now, there have been some changes in that since 4 o'clock, and let's begin with the officer that he said had grazing wounds and was doing well. That is we now know, a 40-year-old SWAT officer who at this hour is listed in critical condition. We don't know any further extent of that other than the soft tissue injuries he mentioned. Now, the 70-year-old who had the torso injuries and was shot multiple times is involved in his second operation. We're waiting to hear more, but he is considered in critical condition. And the 55-year-old police officer who also had multiple extremity injuries is in the ICU tonight in critical condition. The 61-year-old female that he mentioned who had soft tissue injuries, she is in stable condition, and I was told that she is improving very quickly. And again, the 27-year-old police officer who was over at Mercy Hospital had an injury to his hand, and we understand that he has undergone surgery throughout the day and he is doing fairly well. The injuries that we're talking about here, when we say extremity injuries, talking about injuries to arms and legs primarily. And when they add in the word soft tissue, it means it didn't hit anything critical. But when I asked the doctors if any of these officers or the other 2 victims were at risk of losing a limb with these injuries, I was told, no, it doesn't look that way right now. So that certainly is a positive sign. But it's far from out of the woods for the 70-year-old with the injuries to his torso. It could be a day or 2 before they really have a good handle on how he is going to progress. Everyone else looks like they're in pretty good shape. Even if they're listed in critical condition, they are doing well and are stable at this point. The doctors will continue to work here, and as I said, a lot of people have been coming by throughout the day to see them, to visit with them, and I understand that the police chief was able to visit with the officers who are injured, and again, all of those with extremity injuries. Much more coming up as the evening goes on. For now, live at Presby, John Shumway, KDKA-TV News.
All right.